Some other big changes to keep an eye on. Running back Darrell Monroe, he will not play this afternoon. In for him will be Shadrach Thornton at running back. And then defensively, Justin Shirk, the MAC linebacker, he's got some nagging injuries. He won't be playing. In his place will be Ryan Langford.
Again, you talk about Darrell Monroe, the season he had last year. Guess what? Shadrach Thornton has put together a nice resume so far. They want to see him behind this offensive line. They're not afraid to make changes. That's the one thing about this coaching staff. You see Langford, who's going to get a lot of playing time tonight at that MAC linebacker position. Rangy, fast, can rush the passer, but you will be held accountable. A lot of coaches, Chris, preach accountability, but don't hold you to it. This coaching staff will.
All right, when we come back, we'll have the kickoff between the Arizona Rattlers and Green Bay Blizzard. Don't go anywhere. It should be a good one. By Santan Ford. At Santan Ford, it's all about you. And it's all about the Arizona Rattlers and Green Bay Blizzard here this afternoon. So glad you could join us. Talking Stick Resort Arena. Rattlers come out with a record of 1-1. The Blizzard at 0-3. And we are set for kickoff. Sawyer Petrie to get things going here for Arizona, and we are underway. On the return for Green Bay is B.J. Hill. He's going to get brought down at about the 15-yard line. Let's now take a look at the keys to today's game.
You talked about the Blizzard. They're 0-3 coming into this game. Coaching staff of the Rattlers wonder if they're going to change their approach of running the football so much. Play physical. That's Rattlers football. That's what this coaching staff expects. Bunch of lineup changes. How are those going to go in this afternoon's game? And then remember, this coaching staff will hold the players accountable for their performance, not just talk about it.
They're the reigning IFL champions, but Coach Guy said last year was last year. This is a different team.
Well, you got about 15, 18 new guys from that team. Yes, it is a new team.
1st and 10 for Green Bay. And the handoff left side, gain of a couple for the Blizzard. On the carry there was Chris Malott.
Look at this offensive line for Green Bay. Woodgett, 365 pounds. Dampierre's the little guy on the line. He's only 310. Williams, 315 pounds. They like to run the football.
Look at the starting lineup there for Green Bay. Under center, Christian LeMay. It's going to keep it. Nowhere to go. Great job of that Rattlers defense. And Green Bay is a team that's known to run the ball quite a bit. And take a look at the Rattlers defense here.
You look at that last play, and that's probably part of Green Bay's problem. Running back not expecting to get the ball, goes the opposite way. Line's blocking one way, just not quite on the same page. And so again, if you're this Rattlers defensive football team, you know this team likes to run the football. You know you got out physical last week. You've got to step up to the challenge this afternoon.
3rd down and 8. LeMay fires short of a first down. Great job defensively there by Keith Brown getting the stop. It's going to be 4th and 2 for the Blizzard.
Well, what I like about that play call, you probably go, well, why are you throwing the ball short of the first down marker? Well, that's because if you're this Green Bay coaching staff, you're saying we're going for it on 4th down. You 4th down and 2, you can call any play in your playbook, but if you try and take a shot deep and you're still going for it, 4th and 8 is much more difficult to pick up.
So here we go. The Blizzard from their own 23, 4th and 2. Handoff, first down, Green Bay. And picking it up, number 22 for the Blizzard, Jason Oden Jr.
6 foot, 230 pounds, a physical running back, as we talked about the size of this offensive line. Man-on-man blocking, we're going to get 2 yards. Can you stop us if you're the Arizona Rattlers? At that time, they weren't able to.
Oden Jr. averaging just under 35 yards a game this season, which ranks 7th in the IFL. First down for Green Bay at midfield. Little toss sweep to the left. Oden gets driven out of bounds. In on the tackle is Justin Martin as well as Devontae Merriweather.
Well, Merriweather, one of those changes defensively. 200 pounds, can cover, can play linebacker, very physical. Look for number 8 all around the football field, but this kind of looks like the way Green Bay is going to go about it. They figure, you know what, we are 0-3, but we can run the football on you.
They run the ball about 68% of the time in the first 3 games. LeMay looks downfield, fires, intercepted. Coming away with it, Bubba Chapman. Nice return there by Bubba. And a great play for the Arizona Rattlers defense. Their first interception of the season defensively.
Ball's going to be intended for Jeremy Jones. Ball came out a little bit late, thrown behind Jones, right into the waiting arms of Bubba Chapman. One of the easier interceptions he's going to have all year. Brings it back, gives this Rattler football team good field position to start their first drive.
Bubba Chapman had 8 interceptions last year, which was 2nd in the IFL. He was a first-team IFL selection. Coming up with the big pick there. Rattlers offense will take over from the Green Bay 24. Handoff Shadrack Thornton. Nice pick of about 8, but there's a penalty flag on the play.
Well, that's right in the place where you usually get an offensive lineman for holding, but we've been surprised a few times here.
Brings it a 2nd down.
See a big hole open up, and didn't hear the referee's explanation for why the flag was on the ground. Maybe it just fell out of his pocket, and they picked it up.
Larry Farina, our referee here this afternoon. So it's going to be 2nd down and 2 for the Rattlers. Thornton left side gets knocked out of bounds. It's going to bring up 3rd down.
Changes on that offensive line. Chris Bowles goes to center. Vernon Sandveld is moving over to guard, moving into that starting lineup. They want to be physical up front. Coach Connie Kawhi, the offensive line coach, said last week once they got hit in the mouth, rather than blocking vertical, getting up the field, they were doing horizontal blocking. We're going to get those power steps in the ground. They got to get back to the basics.
3rd and 1. Handoff, Jamal Miles cuts it back to the left side, down the sidelines, inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for the Rattlers. Jamal Miles.
Just great vision. Last week he had 5 carries, 23 yards. You see the Blizzard defense, but just has such great vision and can cut back quick. Very dynamic as Jamal Miles, the local product.
Last year against Green Bay, Miles had a game where he had 5 total touchdowns against the Blizzard, so he's had success against this team. 1st and goal. Rattlers, the pitch, Thornton cuts it inside, fighting for the goal line, gets knocked down just short. 2nd and goal inside the 1.
Well, last week Thornton averaged almost 6 yards per carry. Does a lot of things good. See him get outside, run a little option. Really didn't look like his knee was down on the ground. Coach Guy could probably challenge that, but I think he figures let's go ahead and punch this ball into the end zone.
Jeff Ziemba in shotgun. Ziemba's going to keep it up the middle. Touchdown, Rattlers. But there is a penalty flag in the end zone. So the penalties against Green Bay. Rattlers decline, and it's a touchdown for Arizona.
Well, they're going to dial up the first 2 series for the Arizona Rattlers. Your defense comes up with a turnover. Offense pounds the ball down the field into the end zone, score a touchdown, and things are looking good right now for the Rattlers here early in this first quarter.
Sawyer Petrie on for the extra point. And it is good. 8:20 remaining here, opening quarter. And it's the Arizona Rattlers, thanks to the Jeff Ziemba touchdown run. They lead the Green Bay Blizzards 7-0. Welcome back to Talking Stick Resort Arena. Arizona with the quick lead over Green Bay. 8:20 remaining here in the opening quarter. And this was just the start that Kevin Guy was looking for. Defense comes up with a turnover, come the other way and cash it in.
And did it physically, you know, and that's what they're really stressing this week in that locker room for the Arizona Rattlers. We will not be out physical.
Petrie's kick sails through the end zone.
One of the interesting concepts of the indoor football league, they want to keep the ball, the football on the field of play, so they penalize you if you kick it into the stands, bring it out to the 20-yard line for the offense to start their series.
But in talking with Rattlers head coach Kevin Guy, the return man for Green Bay, B.J. Hill, he said that guy just popped on the film.
He did, and obviously a dynamic football player, guy that you need to make sure you know where he is every time the ball's in the air.
Left side on the carry for the Blizzard. Number 34, Robert Metz.
Well, and Metz, 6'4", 240 pounds, listed as a linebacker, carrying the football like a linebacker, looking for contact.
Looking for people to hit out there. That's what he's used to. 2nd and 5. On the carry there for the Blizzard. Oden Jr. It's going to bring up 3rd and short for Green Bay.
You just look at this Green Bay team and you line up, Metz as you're kind of blocking fullback, you're getting the ball a little bit. That you have Oden Jr. who's 230 pounds, and you just don't see this style of offense in the indoor game very much at all.
Got some big boys back there running the ball for the Blizzard. One guy's 230, another guy's a linebacker. 3rd down, Oden Jr. again picks up the 1st down. Following that right side of the line. Blizzard getting a nice push and move the chains.
Well, definite improvement from this Rattler team. Talking to Coach Jeff Jarnigan, the defensive line coach, was really disappointed. He said for the first time since he's been here with the Rattlers, he felt they got out-physicaled on the defensive line. He says it's like a mosh pit. They just kind of form a wedge and push our defensive linemen back 6, 7, 8 yards. One of the reasons that Josh Gordon, number 95, was in there playing. And remember, they only dressed 3 defensive linemen this afternoon.
1st and 10. Man in motion, takes the handoff, and getting brought down is Jaren Jones. Merriweather in to get the stop.
You can see that explosion from Merriweather, nose for the football, and then explodes into the running back. Watch him come down the line, that vision, tries to cut it back, and you see that explosion with the hips and the knees. Really nice technique tackle with physicality by Merriweather.
And to follow up on what you mentioned from Coach Jarnigan, Coach Guy talked about how they need to establish Rattlers' brand of football, be physically and mentally tougher than what they have been. And speaking of which, coming in to make the big pop, Chris McAllister.
You talk about a game of leverage. I mean, he's working right there, getting a down block. Just really nice penetration by McAllister. Came into the game with 3.5 tackles for loss. He was a first-team All-Indoor Football League performer last year. Starting to get going here in his 2nd year.
It's going to bring up 3rd down and 12. And those 3.5 tackles for loss for McAllister, 2nd best in the league. LeMay fires, has his receiver. 1st down, Green Bay. Coming up with the catch is Jones.
Really nice timing route. Watching film here, LeMay tends to hang on to the football a little bit long. Sometimes that ball comes out late, even that ball a little bit behind the intended receiver, Jones, and that's when you can put your team in jeopardy. That out route, the ball needs to be thrown in front of the receiver.
Coach Guy was hoping his defensive backs could get their hands on some balls here today, and we've already got an interception by Chapman, but it's Green Bay, 1st and goal from the 5. And come up to make the big stick there is Merriweather once again.
Right in the hole, a quarterback draw. Christian LeMay, he's 6'2", 220 pounds. Physical quarterback, likes to run with the football. Is 117 yards rushing this season, leads the team. That was a called quarterback keeper, and Merriweather right there in the hole with another very physical tackle.
So 2nd and goal from the 4. LeMay goes under center. Metz with the carry, right side, loses the ball. Rattlers come away with it. Arizona with their 2nd forced turnover here today. This time it's Arkeith Brown who comes away with it.
Just took the ball right out of Metz's hands.
Terrific job here by the Rattlers defense to come up with a big stop inside their own 5-yard line. And they'll have the ball when we come back.
All right, that big time for today's Streets of New York Pizza Delivery. Please welcome Striker and the Rat Pack as they deliver a tasty treat that can be beat. Delicious Streets of New York Pizza. You're the winner of some free dinner if you're seated in section 114, row 20. Congratulations.
Rattlers will take over from their own 8-yard line. And how about this Arizona defense? They came into today's game last in the league in turnover margin. Had come in with only one forced fumble. Here they are already. Fumble recovery as well as an interception. Ziemba takes a shot down the field, has Amos. Can't quite reel it in. Great shot downfield there by Ziemba.
Well, and he stood in there, pressure right up the middle. Josh Francis, 6 foot, 235-pound linebackers will be coming right into your living room. You know as a quarterback you're going to take that hit to be able to stand in there as long as Ziemba did and throw this ball almost far enough. Obviously the pressure affected a little bit. You got to give a lot of credit to this defense. Darius Sims with his makeup speed to break that pass up.
2nd and 10. Ziemba's going to keep it. It's going to be a pickup of about 3. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 7.
Talked a lot about the skill guys and the position changes and some guys sitting and for injuries, some for performance, some, but that offensive line, Lamar Meady, who coaches said probably played his poorest game since he became Arizona Rattler, and he's a very prideful guy. I know he's going to come out and play well, but Chris Bowles in at center, Sandville in at guard, and they will rotate centers today.
3rd down. Ziemba hits his receiver, hauling it in for the Rattlers. Desmond Epps.
Well, you talk about Ziemba and you know, last week, 13 of 29, 3 interceptions, but it's not all the quarterback. And Coach Guy emphasized, hey, quarterbacks get too much credit and they get too much blame. He said the receivers have to play better. Offensive line, running backs, they all have to play better around the quarterback to give him a chance.
Ziemba across the middle of the field, hauling it in and making the catch is Epps once again. So that's 2 straight catches for the receiver out of Idaho.
5'9", 170 pounds, good protection up front from this offensive line. Gives Ziemba plenty of time to go to his second choice crossing route by Epps. Very well thrown. Picks up another 1st down, and this offense is clicking right now for the Arizona Rattlers.
And how about that offensive line you just spoke of, giving Ziemba time, receivers making catches. Thornton up the middle, huge hole. 1st and goal, Arizona. Nice run there by the running back from North Carolina State.
We talked about this offensive line. I want you to watch Vernon Sandville, left guard number 64. Look at him get down there, cut off the defensive lineman for Green Bay and make that hole from about 3 foot to about a hole that I might have been able to run through. Tremendous job by this offensive line.
You might have slipped through there. There's a chance of that happening. And Thornton gets bottled up, nowhere to go.
Good penetration there by Green Bay, and that's one of the things you do in this kind of offense, that zone read option. If that defensive end's crashing, you keep that ball as a quarterback.
We are through one quarter here at Talking Stick Resort Arena, and it's Arizona leading Green Bay 7-0.
The Arizona Rattlers Sidewinder. Presented by Par Excellence, Prescott Institute, Bibi Osieri, and Kendra Scott.
Arizona Rattlers are brought to you by Papa John's. When we win, you win. The day after every Rattlers win, you'll receive 50% off all online pizza orders. And All Copy Products, your one-stop shop for workplace solutions and the official office solutions provider of your Arizona Rattlers. And by Santan Ford. At Santan Ford, it's all about you. And Miller Lite, great tasting, less filling beer. It's Miller time. As we are ready to start the second quarter here at Talking Stick Resort Arena. Rattlers will have the ball at the Green Bay 6-yard line.
One of those quarters that the Rattlers absolutely dominated, but you look up at the score, it feels like it should be like 21-0. But they had a real long drive. Green Bay's moved the ball, but hasn't put it in the end zone.
Ziemba pitches it out. Thornton puts his head down, pushes his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Rattlers.
What a nice job by Ziemba there. He pump faked and then pitched the ball. You got to give Thornton a lot of credit for keeping concentration. What's a physicality running over two Green Bay Blizzard defenders to get into the end zone. Thornton, we talked about him, 215 pounds, wanted to get that ball across the goal line.
Thornton says he's a downhill runner, showing his strength right there. Petrie for the extra point, and it gets blocked.
Extra point blocked.
So with 14-13 remaining here in the second quarter, Ziemba with the pitch to Thornton, finds his way into the end zone. Rattlers lead the Blizzard 13-0.
Visit BeckVetHealth.com to find a location nearest you.
Welcome back to Talking Stick Resort Arena. Chris Harris here along with Dale Hellestray. Rattlers with a 13-0 lead over the Blizzard here early in the second quarter. Shadrach Thornton with the touchdown. Short kick by Petrie. Hill catches it on the run. Great job there by the Rattlers on the kickoff coverage.
You know what? We all love Petrie. He had a heck of a season last year. Last week struggled a little bit. The operation wasn't smooth. He wasn't kicking well in warm-ups. Coach kept an eye on that. His last kickoff goes over the boards, which brings the ball out to the 20-yard line. This one is kicked down to about the 10-yard line. They ultimately would like it 7 to 8 yards deep into the end zone. You just got to hope that Sawyer Petrie can get his mind right, because about 90% of kicking is above the shoulders.
And Petrie was second team All-IFL last season. Terrific year last year. Hand off to the left side. Ball is loose, but he's going to be marked down. It's going to be a gain of about 3, be second down and 7.
Just interesting watching this Green Bay offense. You know, they only put one guy in motion a lot of time. Very basic. They're going to try and out physical you. You wonder at what point, you know, it is a 2-score game, so you're not out of range by any stretch of the imagination, but you wonder at what point are you going to drop back and throw the football down the field a little more.
LeMay under center. Dumps it off to his back. Going to get brought down just short of a first down. Making the catch there for Green Bay was Sean Ely.
A really nice job, patience by Christian LeMay. You can see he's got some talent. We've seen him run the football. Comes to his check down, nice big target. Able to make this a third down, very manageable.
Arizona defensively leads the league and stops on third down. Looking for another one here. Not able to get it. First down, Green Bay. Ely gets the necessary yardage to move the chains.
Well, Ely carrying the football, but they're just lining up in the old-fashioned I formation. Metz is the fullback, the blocking fullback. We talked about him, 6'4", 240 pounds, and Ely 5'11", 225 pounds, running right behind him, just running good old-fashioned lead.
Ely out of Georgia. Ely once again going to try the left side this time. Pickup of about a yard.
Well, that's Langford, 235 pounds. Tackling 230 pounds, running downhill physically at the point of attack. And both Langford and Merriweather getting their extended playing time here and making the most of it.
Langford getting his first indoor game of his career. Played his college ball at New Mexico, spent time in the Houston Texans and Arizona Cardinals camps. Our Keith Brown able to come up with the tackle. Catch is made for Green Bay by Malott.
Coach Guy said because of the way Green Bay is so physical and runs the football that the Rattlers are going to load the box, meaning that those defensive backs going to be a lot of one-on-one coverage, and then have to win a number of those battles. And so far in this football game, every throw has been contested by the Rattler secondary.
3rd down and 4 for the Blizzard from the Rattlers 16. Odin Jr. cuts it back inside and picks up the first down. It's going to be 1st and goal for the Blizzard from the Arizona 9.
Really nice vision by Odin there. It was a pitch. All the Rattlers running outside. He sticks that left foot in the ground and gets upfield. And you can see why this Green Bay Blizzard team feels that they need to run the football to be successful. They are good at it.
They are 2nd in the league in rushing offense behind Arizona. Again, they like to run the ball about 68% of the time. Run it again here, but there's a penalty flag on the play.
So they might be talking about holding. I'm not sure if it's defensive or offensive.
Defense, number 91. After this is the goal, 1st down.
That's the referee, Larry Farina. Our umpire today, Mark Warner. Head linesman, Reed Brotherton. Line judge, Ken Wolf. And our back judge, Kevin Kaiser.
Get it there on Martin, the nose guard, number 91. And what he's trying to do is keep the center Dampier off the linebackers. So you can hold a lot as a defensive lineman. That offensive line trying to get up to that next level to block the linebackers. And as a defensive lineman, if you can grab 2 of them, that's a win for your defense.
1st and goal from the 4. Odin Jr. with the handoff. Gets brought down. Justin Martin, the first one there.
This coaching staff for the Rattlers was worried about the physicality of their defense, this defensive line. Remember, we talked about they've only dressed 3. For some reason, one of those 3 get hurt. Probably bring in Bowles from the offensive line to play nose tackle. And they just challenged them to be much more physical than they were last week.
2nd and goal. Let's see what Green Bay head coach Chris Williams dials up here for the Blizzard. Handoff with the carry is Ely again. He's a little bit of a wrecking ball coming through there.
Well, it's almost like it's like Green Bay doesn't have any plans whatsoever to run the football. He's 225 pounds, low center of gravity. Remember, he's under 6 foot tall, so that 225 pounds on a little bit of a shorter body.
They're not exactly looking to run side to side laterally. It's pretty much vertical and downhill. 3rd down, pushing for the goal line and getting in is Odin Jr., but we got a couple of penalty flags down on the play.
The Blizzard tried to get up there and run a play very quickly because the Rattlers weren't ready. I think they snapped the ball before the entire offense was set.
Illegal formation, defense, number 8. Penalties decline, touchdown.
Interesting, since the Rattlers weren't set, illegal formation on the defense. I'm not sure. It looked like there were a couple of Green Bay offensive players moving, but lined up in an old-fashioned wishbone. Don't know the last time I've seen an indoor team, whether it's Arena or the Indoor Football League, line up in the good old-fashioned Oklahoma and Texas wishbone from the 70s.
I was going to say it's back in the Big 8 days. Extra point is up and good. And with 7:59 remaining here in the 2nd quarter, it is the Rattlers leading the Blizzard 13-7. Jordan Endry set to kick it off for Green Bay. As they get on the scoreboard, they now trail Arizona 13-7, 7:59 remaining here in the first half. Desmond Epps to return for the Rattlers. Loses his feet, and he gets dropped at the 5-yard line.
That was really good coverage by Green Bay. Special teams, obviously, early in the season, always putting a lot of pressure on them. Darius Sims with the tackle there. Remember, hey, if you're in the NFL, you get 4 preseason games. This is the Rattlers' 3rd game of the season, the Blizzard's 4th game of the season. You're technically still in the kind of feeling out process of your football teams, especially with all the changes that have been made to this Rattler football team.
And that's a great point because the Rattlers actually had week 2 off. They had a bye coming off that win against Sioux Falls. 1st and 10 from their own 5. Thornton handoff right side. Boy, he runs hard. Pickup of 8, and we got a late flag coming in.
And Steve Garola moved into center. We heard they're going to be rotating centers. Garola, a local product, Glendale Community College, went to U of A.
Personal foul, number 56, late hit. Half the distance to the goal, 2nd down.
The one thing about Garola is he's tenacious, needs to continue to get better on his technique. Great block here, but now watch at the end. Absolutely no reason for that. And those are the things. You hurt your football team when you play football like that. Be physical from the snap until the whistle, and that's one thing that this coaching staff, Connie Kauai especially, is trying to get him to understand.
Coach Guy said he loves Garola's mentality, but it's the technique and fundamentals he's got to focus on as well. Ziemba fires incomplete. Intended receiver was Anthony Jones Jr.
Really nice job by B.J. Hill reading Ziemba's eyes. Ziemba telling Coach Guy I need to get my shoulders turned more downfield, but B.J. Hill able to read his eyes and knock that pass down.
6.5 minutes remaining here, 2nd quarter, as we take another look.
See the naked bootleg out to his left, and B.J. Hill dropped off his receiver to break up that pass.
3rd and 9 for Arizona. Ziemba fires left side. Intended receiver was Miles. It's going to bring up 4th down.
Good pressure. Brandon Boudreau, 6'2", 260 pounds. Rushing out there against Vernon Sandville. We knew this Green Bay defensive line, pretty salty up front. Grissom, the nose tackle, has played well against the Rattlers in the past. And right there you saw Boudreau with the penetration and the harassment of Ziemba.
4th down and 9 for Arizona. Ziemba fires, has his receiver Amos with the catch. 1st down, Arizona. Big pickup there as Ziemba finds Amos. 1st down.
Another naked bootleg out to the left. You can run these naked bootlegs when you're able to run the football. Actually gets a lead blocker out in front of him. Able to survey the field. Get the ball down the field to Amos with the catch on the 1st down.
Rattlers now at the Green Bay 19. Thornton takes the handoff. Big hole for Thornton. Pickup of 7.
Really nice read there by Ziemba, and Thornton showing everything that he brings to this football team. That offensive line opens up a really nice hole. Nice scoop block on the backside there. You have Mady and Garola. Pick up 8 yards, bring up 2nd down.
Talking with Thornton, he said the Rattlers offense is similar to what he played in at North Carolina State. A lot of shotgun, fly motions, offsets. Feels very comfortable here in Arizona. Takes another handoff up the middle. Touchdown, Rattlers. And right on cue, Shadrach Thornton finds the end zone.
Well, it's going to make him feel a lot more comfortable, too, when there's holes like this. Again, that backside scoop. Tremendous job by Mady and Garola. Thornton runs untouched into the end zone. Tremendous job by that offensive line and great vision by Shadrach Thornton.
Petrie now for the extra point. And the kick is good. So with 3:34 remaining here in the first half, Arizona, thanks to the Shadrach Thornton touchdown run, they lead the Blizzard 20-7. Welcome back to Talking Stick Resort Arena. 3:34 remaining first half. Arizona leading Green Bay's 20-7. Shadrach Thornton with a touchdown run. But how about Arizona? They had 4th and 9 from their own 6, got the conversion, and they got the touchdown.
No hesitation from Coach Guy. He's a guy who's going to go for it more times, and he's going to play it safe. Would be a long, long field goal. Decided to go for it. Completed the pass, finished off with a touchdown.
B.J. Hill on the return for the Blizzard gets brought out of bounds. But how about B.J. Hill? Came out of retirement. He was actually elected into the IFL Hall of Fame back in 2015. Holds the league record for kick return yards and touchdowns. They retired his number 3 jersey back in 2014. Came out of retirement, still getting it done.
Still getting it done. And, you know, when the head coach of an opposing team sits, you turn on the film and number 3 flashes, that's pretty tremendous praise.
Hill said about his return to the game, he says sometimes you get that itch as a football player and that it never went away. Something you've probably experienced, Mr. Hellestray?
No, mine went away.
Yours did go away.
Yeah.
There was no itch to scratch for you. You were done.
17 years and an artificial hip coming. Yeah, I think I'd had my fair share.
You had a good run.
Did have a good run. You see this Green Bay team not changing their attitude or direction offensively, and you can call it stubbornness. You can call it this is what we do. As long as you stay with the 2 scores, you can continue to run the football. I think we get outside that 2-score realm, and then you start getting a little nervous.
And they're going to take a shot down the field, and they get intercepted. Keith Brown. And just like that, Dale, they get away from the run, go with the pass. Keith Brown comes up with the big pick for Arizona.
Well, Chris Mallett, 6'5", 235 pounds, a big target, running a pump and go. Ball's got to be out in front. Remember, he's going up against Keith Brown, 6 foot, 200 pounds. Mallett 6'5", and Mallett motioning to LeMay, throw the ball out in front of me, throw it up high, let me go and get the football.
And how about this Rattlers defense? They came into today's game with one forced turnover. Already here in the first half, they've got 3. 2 interceptions, one each by Bubba Chapman and Arkeith Brown. And then the fumble recovery by Brown as well. Gives Arizona the ball at their own 18-yard line. Just under 2 minutes remaining here, first half. Ziemba, plenty of room. He's going to go ahead and turn it upfield. Pickup of about 5 for the quarterback.
Smart decision by Ziemba there. Rolls out to his right, couple receivers running deep routes, pretty good coverage down the field, had good protection. Decided, you know what, I didn't like any of those routes. I'm just going to tuck the ball, pick up some positive yards. We'll get this ball, to the minute mark after this play and see if we can't make Green Bay use all their timeouts before we have to give them the ball back.
2nd and 4. Hand out to Thornton, nice spin move, but the ball is loose and the Blizzards recover.
Well, and I'm wondering about that play, if that was communicated correctly in the huddle. You had a couple guys crossing behind the center. And then coming in late there, number 17, Epps, and I'm sure that distracted Thornton just a little bit. Ball pops loose, and just as we were talking about getting to the 1-minute warning, Green Bay now will have the football.
And it was Manny Asprilla with the recovery for Green Bay. And we are going to take a break. Arizona leading Green Bay 20-7. 1 minute remaining here in the first half at Talking Stick Resort Arena. One minute remaining, first half. Green Bay coming off the Rattlers turnover. They will now have the ball at Arizona's 19-yard line. 1 minute remaining here, first half. Oden Jr. with the carry. There's a penalty flag. They got thrown right at the snap.
Well, I think they're going to get the Rattlers for an illegal defense, and umpire standing right behind him continues to grab those two linebackers and try and pull them back.
Defense, number 8, lined up less than 5. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, remember we talked about two new linebackers, Langford and Merriweather. And Coach Guy said, I expect a few mistakes to be made, but as a linebacker, if the official has his hands on your pants and pulling you backwards, that means you've got to get back a little bit.
Handoff, Odin, almost lost the ball, but hung on to it. It's going to be a 1st and goal for Green Bay from the Arizona 7-yard line. And here's what's happening at halftime. I'll be joined by Rattlers MAC linebacker Justin Shirk. Chat with Mr. Shirk for a moment and have some first half highlights. And we'll catch up with Coach Guy and get his impressions of the first half.
I think Shirk was the guy the Sioux Falls head coach said if his arms wouldn't have been so big, he would have been able to pick up the ball at the end of that first game and would have been better for them rather than rolling it all the way in the end zone. We caught a shot of him before the game and looked like he'd just done a couple sets of curls in the locker room the way his veins were bulging out of his arm.
He's well put together. There's no doubt about it. He spent some time in the weight room, no question about it. Odin Jr. at the carry. Gets brought down by Gordon.
Well, it's almost like the Blizzard are gaining too many yards here. Ideally, you'd like to gain about 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, score, have the Rattlers out of timeouts and let that clock run down, because now the Rattlers be able to stop the clock after this play, or if you score, you're still going to have 35 to 40 seconds left for the Rattlers to have the football with an opportunity to score.
And Arizona will have the ball to start the second half. So if they can find a way to end up with the ball at the end of the half here, put some points up, they'll get the ball to start the second half. Try to put some distance between themselves and the Blizzard. So it's going to be 2nd and goal, Green Bay from the 3. LeMay under center. Handoff. Great job by Merriweather to trip up the feet of Ely. Bring up 3rd down.
Well, again, ideally, if you're the Blizzard, you'd probably want to gain another 1.5 yards or so on this play. Remember, you've got to gain positive yards to keep the clock moving. Let that clock run down, use one of your timeouts, and punch it in with no time left. That's what we've seen so often here in Arizona, which it always makes me nervous when Coach Guy does that, because at the end of the day, you still have to score. And Green Bay obviously does not want to walk away from this drive without any points.
We saw the replay right there. Devontae Merriweather coming in and getting the tackle for the Rattlers.
Merriweather making a big impact here in the first half.
Merriweather, he comes from a big family. He's got 10 sisters and 2 brothers.
Kind of sounds like the Harris clan.
It does. We got about half that, but nonetheless, a big crew in the Merriweather family. Handoff Odin, he gets stuffed. Josh Gordon comes across the line to make the play. It's going to be another timeout here by Arizona with 35 seconds remaining.
So that's their final timeout. Kind of interesting. Green Bay looks like they're bringing on their field goal unit. We said you don't want to walk away from this drive without any points, but as well as you can run the football. Kind of surprised at 0-3 you don't take a little bit of a chance here and try and punch this ball in the end zone.
So it'll be Jordan Endries with the 20-yard field goal attempt. Jones to hold. 35 seconds remaining. And the kick is wide right, no good. No good. So the Rattlers able to come up with the defensive stand, and they still have 33 seconds left on the clock.
The officials discussing it because the kicker Usually the kicker knows when it didn't go through, and he seemed to think that he had made it, a discussion with the officials, and looks like it's going to stand.
Larry Farina and crew talk it over, and that's Larry Farina behind the play who's watching it and who makes the call.
I'm not sure exactly what he was watching. I think you could maybe challenge this. I don't know if it could have been any more down the center.
It sure looked pretty good from that angle.
Our angle is bad over here on the sideline.
But what we just saw right there looked like it was good, and we are going to have the challenge flag thrown by Green Bay head coach Chris Williams.
Well, you'd hope that the two guys standing under each upright would overrule him and say the ball, sir, went right down the middle.
So the officials are now, you can see at the top of your screen right there, huddled around the TV, taking another look at it. There's Jordan Endries, the 20-yard field goal attempt. And we're going to take another look at it as well here.
Let's play official. Snap a little low. Kick goes up. It just
looks like it's inside the right upright.
It's kind of baffling to me.
After review, the field goal is good.
And they have overturned the call, and the field goal is good.
Well, that's the reason for instant replay. Instant replay is there to right wrongs, to make sure every official is going to make mistakes. Nice that you have instant replay now in the Indoor Football League to right those wrongs, and Green Bay deserved those 3 points.
If the technology is available, then you use it.
Yes.
So now, with 33 seconds remaining here in the first half, Rattlers will get the ball.
With no timeouts, and remember in the Indoor Football League, it is a fast-paced football game until the last minute. And the last minute of the half, last minute of the game, incomplete pass, the clock stops. You hit the dasher board, clock stops, unless you use a timeout. So now the Rattlers have no timeouts. You get tackled in the middle of the field, you got to get up to the ball because that clock is going to continue to move.
So ideally for the Rattlers, they will get some points on the board before the half ends, and then they will be receiving the second half kickoff as well. Endries kicks it deep. Epps with the return. Has some room up the middle, still on his feet. There's a flag down as Epps able to get it out to the 20-yard line. Let's see what the flag is for.
That's one thing this Rattler team does so well. Special teams are always important to them.
Return team number 8, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Anytime you see a flag in that area on a kickoff return, you know it's going to be holding. That's going to be Merriweather grabbing the jersey of B.J. Hill to try and slow him down.
Nice job, though, by Desmond Epps on the return, 5'9", 175.
So remember, pass complete over the middle of the field. Got to get up, either clock the ball or run another play.
Ziemba rolling to the right, getting chased out of the pocket. And he's going to get knocked out of bounds by Josh Francis. So now the clock stops with 20 seconds remaining. Remember, the Rattlers are out of timeouts.
Francis, 6 foot tall, 230 pounds. You know, as usually is the case, Sean Daniels, the defensive end, number 55, was the one who put the pressure on Ziemba.
Second down and 13, Arizona from their own 5. Ziemba fires. Amos goes out of bounds, stops the clock. 16 seconds remaining.
And what I was saying about what's usually the case, it's not that Daniels is usually the guy putting pressure. It's usually the guy who puts the pressure on the quarterback isn't the one who ultimately gets the credit for the sack.
Got to spread the wealth a little bit here, huh? Ziemba fires middle of the field. Falls incomplete. Intended receiver was Anthony Amos.
Rattlers getting everybody out in these pass patterns, so there's going to be a free rusher if Green Bay decides to rush forward. Looks like they're going to bring Petrie on with 13 seconds left to attempt a field goal.
So they're going to move the ball to the left hash. Sean Goldrich, the other quarterback, in to hold. .43-yard attempt by Petrie. And it's no good. It's well short.
And now you got big guys covering.
And B.J. Hill with the ball. He is dangerous for the Blizzard. Finally gets brought down. There's the horn, but there is a flag down.
Well, you wonder if it's going to be a face mask against the Rattlers and give Green Bay one more shot. Boy, dangerous situation. Bunch of big guys running down trying to cover. And there was a face mask there at the very end, and then a punch in the mouth. And I have a feeling they are going to penalize the Rattlers.
The kick landed in the end zone, therefore the ball is dead. There's 5 seconds on the clock, touchback at the 5-yard line, and no foul on the play.
Well, that's the new one on me. Not exactly the microphone, obviously not working with referee Farina very well. Well, boy, if you're Green Bay, you're going, hey, hold on. Guy ripped our guy's helmet off, kind of punched him in the mouth. We should get 15 yards and an opportunity.
But they will have the ball at their own 5-yard line and 5 seconds remaining here in the first half.
You want to be careful here, too. You're going to drop back. You're going to throw a Hail Mary. You definitely don't want to take a safety. You're just going to run the football and get out of here.
LeMay's going to let it go, and it's going to go out of bounds. And it is halftime here at Talking Stick Resort Arena. And the Arizona Rattlers leading the Green Bay Blizzard by a score of 20-10.
Guys. Test 1 2, test 1 2, testing field mic. Test 1 2, test 1 2, testing field mic. Test 1 2, test 1 2. Test 1 2.
So we'll bring you over here, Justin.
All right, now it is time for the Rattlers dance contest. We've got 3 contestants here that are ready to dance, and the winner will receive a Rattlers prize pack. All right, our first contestant is Raphael.
Justin cannot hear
All right,
me.
now we're good. We're good
Okay.
now.
Bueno. So yeah, it goes scenic to open up halftime here, and then bring up Justin and I. Okay. It's halftime here at Talking Stick Resort Arena, where the Arizona Rattlers lead the Green Bay Blizzard by a score of 20-10. And hello, everybody. Chris Harris here, along with MAC linebacker Justin Shirkin. Justin, first off, your thoughts on what you saw there in the first half.
Well, it's a little bit different. I'm a spectator today. Rehabbing nursing my knee injury that I had before the Sioux Falls game, the first game of the season. But the first half went well. Came out strong. Got a couple turnovers there early. Offense put the ball in the end zone. So what Coach wanted is what we've been doing so far. And it kind of struggled a little bit as late, but looks good so far.
Well, we know you'd much rather be on the field than up here, but how is the rehab coming along for you?
It's a slow process. I'll be getting it better before each game, and I play the game, and it's kind of right back down to ground zero. So I talked to the coaches this week about getting it rehabbed, getting it better, so it doesn't linger on the whole season, so I can be 100%. So that's what we're working on right now.
Well, last year you guys won the championship. You were the MVP of the championship game. Describe what that experience was like for you.
Oh, it was a great experience. We just came out and played our game plan and absolutely dominated in the first half, and we held them to 6 points or something like that. And second half, they had a couple turnovers against our offense and kind of put the defense in the hole a little bit. But we made plays late when it needed to and came up big and got the win. And being named the MVP of the game was awesome. I had no idea that my game was that worthy of that performance. I know my roommate that I'm rooming right now, A.K. Brown, had a heck of a performance that game too as well. So it was an honor.
Well, not only are you a terrific football player, but you're a terrific all-around athlete. Now, back in college, you were actually the national champion in the javelin.
Yes, sir.
What was that experience like for you?
It was awesome. I went to school at University of Oklahoma right out of high school for track and field. Got pretty much a full ride there. Things weren't going well for me there. Missed football, so I decided to transfer back to Bloomsburg University, which is a small D2 school up in Pennsylvania. Had to sit out a whole year of football and track, then finally got into it. Had a good freshman season of football. Came into my sophomore season of track and started a little bit slow, but it finished with the national championship, first and ever in school history. So it was a big accomplishment for me and a big accomplishment for my school.
Well, congratulations on that. We cannot wait to see you back out on the field again. Thanks so much for stopping by.
I
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that is Rattlers MAC linebacker Justin Shirk joining us here at halftime. More to come from here at Talking Stick Resort Arena, where the Rattlers lead the Blizzard 20-10. Welcome back, everybody. It's halftime here at Talking Stick Resort Arena, where the Rattlers are leading the Blizzard. Here's a live look inside. Welcome back, everybody. It's halftime here at Talking Stick Resort Arena, where the Rattlers are leading the Blizzard. Here's a live look inside. We'll be back with highlights after the break. Arizona Rattlers leading the Green Bay Blizzard by a score of 20. Is that Axman trying to get some FaceTime?
Yeah, whatever. Y'all about ready?
Yeah, we're 1 minute away. 1 minute.
We're about to start the second half, about in 55 seconds.
They'll hold the clock.
Hey. Dan! Fucking Dan. I want Dan. I want Dan. We're kicking that way.
30 seconds away, Coach.
We got the ball. Yeah. Hey, I want that trips close play where we scored on 18-0. I want it pulled up. Cut me short here.
15 seconds. As we get ready to start the second half, joined by Rattlers head coach Kevin Guy. And Coach, a lot of lineup changes for this afternoon's game. What have you seen from this group?
Well, it's been a physical game. You know, they've ran the ball 25 times already at halftime, and, you know, our defense has held them to 55 yards so far. So we're playing some pretty good run defense. We just got to continue. We've got 3 turnovers. Offensively, you know, everything was looking good to right there towards the end of the half. We fumbled and you know, didn't score in situational football. But overall, been pretty pleased. You know, it's just a physical game. We got to do better, get some little things cleaned up.
The message all week to your guys, especially up front, you had to be more physical than last week. You pleased with the first half's performance?
You know, so we can be more physical in certain areas. You know, some of these drives, we need to get them off the field a little quicker, okay? But, you know, I'm never happy. So, there you go. All right, guys.
Thanks for the time,
Thanks.
Coach. Appreciate it.
Well, and again, I think you got a coach who is always going to be pushing and striving for more. Very good performance up front. I think you sit here and look at it and go, you hold the other team to 10 points, come up with 3 turnovers. That's a pretty good half of work, especially up front.
Rattlers will get the ball to start the second half. They lead 20-10. As that kick sails through the end zone. And we got a flag down on the play. Shadrach Thornton's indicating it's going again against Green Bay.
He's pointing at Ely, the 225-pound running back, number 9. Let's see if he's correct in his assumption.
There's been a lot of meetings with the officials here so far.
Want to get it right, I understand, and some of these been in kind of just odd situations. There's already one penalty, ball goes off the field, and now you got to discuss where's the other penalty going to come from.
2 fouls on the play. Offside, kicking team, 5-yard penalty will be enforced. Dead ball, personal foul, face mask, kicking team. Both penalties will be enforced. First down, Arizona.
And so anytime you have the multiple penalties and where you're going to start from, and they're still kind of discussing where they're going to put this football down. So ball off the field, that means you start at the 20. Then there's going to be a 5-yard mark off for the offsides. And now you're going to have the face mask penalty. And guess what? The Rattlers are going to start off with pretty good field position.
Does the 12-yard line work for you? I think Rattlers head coach Kevin Guy likes where that ball is being spotted right now to open up the second half.
But if you're Green Bay and you're sitting here 0-3 and your team fought like crazy the first half, the one thing you don't want to have happen is hurt yourselves here starting this second half.
So Jeff Ziemba in shotgun. The pitch to Thornton. Thornton does a great job of cutting upfield, getting positive yardage whenever he gets his hands on the ball. Thornton had 5 carries and 29 yards in last week's game against Iowa.
I want you to watch 77 coming down the line right here. 77, he's Kenneth Woodgett. He's 6'4", 365 pounds, and dances like a ballerina down the field. Tremendously athletic.
Hand off to Thornton. Nice open field tackle there by Josh Francis. 360 pounds?
365.
365.
He ate breakfast this morning. 365. Light on his feet. And you're trying to scoop him and double team him as from that backside, and you got to be very, very athletic to be able to slip those double teams, and he did it on that play.
3rd and 7. Ziemba fires to the end zone, has the receiver in and out of the hands of Amos.
You know, it's just one of those things with these receivers for the Rattlers. You don't see many drop balls. That was a good route. That was a good throw. Everything was right, and you just don't see Rattler receivers drop many footballs. A little quick out pattern. Ball just a little bit from our angle looked like it was a little closer to him. I'd like to bring that in just a little bit.
So Petrie comes on for the 26-yard field goal attempt. And that is no good. Petrie, 26-yard field goal, no good. And we're going to step aside for a quick break. Rattlers still lead 20-10. .58 remaining third quarter. Arizona with the opening possession of the half had the ball to start at the Green Bay 12-yard line, but couldn't get any points out of it.
Nice job by that Green Bay defense, not allowing those penalties and field position to affect them. And let's see how this Rattler defense responds with their first drive of the second half.
So the Blizzards start from their own 5. Odin Jr. gets stacked up by that Rattlers defense.
Merriweather in on the tackle. Been in a lot of tackles. That's physical every time he sticks his head in there, listed at 200 pounds. And Odin's 230, Met's 235. So every time he's made a tackle, he's had a collision.
Second down and 8. Odin again just hugging that wall before finally getting knocked into it, but it's a first down for the Blizzard. Check that. Looks like they're gonna mark him short.
Nice job gaining the edge there. Tucker, number 69, reaching Chris McAllister. If you're a Rattler fan, probably a hold. If you're a Green Bay fan, you're saying really good block. Tucker, 6'6", 310 pounds, out of Lane College. Doing a nice job on that play.
So the officials, one was waving for the change to go on, the other one was marking it short. So it is 3rd down and 1. Ely, first down for Green Bay.
Well, I think one thing the Indoor Football League does pretty well, the officiating, is if it's close, it's a first down. Want to keep the chains moving, want to keep everything flowing, as we've talked about, especially up until the 1 minute mark of each half.
And it was Ryan Langford in for Justin Shirk there making the tackle.
You talked to Justin at halftime, you say he did a nice job.
He did.
Not only does he have big arms, but he can speak.
Very, very well. And we got a penalty on the play here. And we certainly do want to thank Justin Shirk for joining us at halftime. I think he's now in the weight room getting in some more reps.
Defense, number 91, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And the penalty is going to go against Justin Martin.
Justin Martin fighting his tail off inside at that nose tackle position, trying to keep the center off his linebackers. And boy, you can go weeks without seeing a defensive lineman get called for holding, much less getting called for 2 of them in one game. So obviously the Green Bay coaching staff has made the officials aware, or the officials watching film getting ready for the game became aware that the nose tackle for the Rattlers will grab on to the jersey of the center, trying to get up that next level.
Now you're trying to tell me those things happen?
A defensive linemen are cheaters. Can't trust them.
A little miscommunication there in the backfield for Green Bay, so LeMay just hangs on to it and gets 5 yards out of it. Nice play there by the Blizzard quarterback to make a little something out of nothing.
Well, you can see this defensive line doing a nice job for the Rattlers, running sideline to sideline last week, talking to Jeff Jarnigan. Really not pleased with the level of their pads, and by that, the higher your shoulders are, the less leverage you have, the easier it is to push you off the football. So that was a big point of emphasis this week for the defensive line.
Odin Jr. handoff, spins out of a tackle, and marked just short of a first down. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 1 for the Blizzard at the Arizona 10.
I'm sorry, I got distracted about 25 yards away from the play. Chris Mallett had one of the, I think it was Bubba Chapman, up against the dasher board, and the end zone was just checking him into the dasher board as the play was going on. Neither one of them involved at all.
Getting a little physical down there. Odin with the carry, first down Blizzard. So it's going to be 1st and goal Green Bay from the Arizona 8. And the Blizzard just continue to pound the ball on the ground.
You keep it, it's 20-10. You know, you keep it within sight. You can continue to stick with your game plan. We talked about Coach Guy wondering, team starts off 0-3. Are they going to try and change their MO and come out and throw the football? Are they going to stick with what they've done? Well, I think that's been answered.
They are who they are. Great tackle in the backfield by Josh Gordon, bringing down Robert Metz.
Josh Gordon in the lineup replacing Mosley, and Gordon had a great camp. Coach Jarnigan has said probably their best pure athlete of the defensive linemen. Able to slip the block, gain penetration, and make the tackle.
And Gordon was credited with a fumble recovery in last week's game at Iowa. And just in case you missed it at halftime, we have the score. Sioux Falls beat Iowa earlier today. And how about that? Ryan Langford, his first indoor game ever, coming in and making the sack.
Not exactly sure what Christian LeMay was doing here. Fakes the handoff, turns around. You have an unblocked linebacker and a 6'3", 235-pound one at that with good speed in to make the tackle.
Langford has been around the indoor game, just hasn't played it. His dad actually coached in the AFL 2 for the Quad City Steamwheelers. Said he used to go to those games all the time when he was a kid. Another terrific rush for the Rattlers. Another sack. Chris McAllister.
Justin Martin doing a tremendous job getting penetration right up the middle. Beats the center. Not sure how the official scores divvy that up, but remember your defensive ends get a lot better when you get pressure right up the middle.
So Jordan Endry's on for the 35-yard field goal attempt. And it is wide left, no good. So a great defensive stand there by the Rattlers, getting tremendous pressure, forcing the Blizzard into a long field goal. It's no good. And with 6:40 remaining here, third quarter, the Rattlers will have the ball when we come back.
All right, you think it is B, believes the earth is flat? Let's go up to the video board and find out.
And my lie is, I went back to Europe.
Wait, that's the lie. Nice try. He actually thinks the earth is flat. We can't send you home empty-handed, so we'll give you a Rattlers prize back. Too many hits. Too many hits. One too many hits to the head.
That literally angers me that people think the world is flat. It literally angers me. Are people that bored? Nothing to talk about? Let's just change the game and the world's flat.
After this field goal, Rattlers first and 10, and they're on 5-yard line.
They're 20-10. Arizona start this drive from their own 5-yard line after the defense came up with a big stand. As we now take a look at the updated IFL standings, Nebraska on top at 2-0. Iowa and Sioux Falls tied at 2-1. And look at that, showing some brute strength. Shadrack Thornton carrying half of Green Bay's defense.
Kind of looked like beast mode back in the heyday of the Seattle Seahawks, just carrying defenders, lowering those shoulders. Great vision, not one, not two, not three. Actually took his own guy to come and knock the whole pile down.
Now out in the flat, making the catch is Thornton. Another first down for the Rattlers. And talking with Rattlers head coach Kevin Guy, he said Thornton, he can do it all. He can run, he can catch the ball coming out of the backfield as well.
He can, and again, we talked about some of the changes that were made this week. Open competition, some of them were made because of injury, some of them because of performance, and they're going to give guys a chance to play.
Just under 5.5 minutes remaining, third quarter. Ziemba fakes the handoff to Thornton and keeps it. And Ziema with a pickup of 5.
Another thing Coach Guy talked about yesterday when we sat down with him, he said, remember last year, I believe they were undefeated when they ran the football more than they threw it.
They were.
And sometimes coming from the Arena Football League, you get used to throwing the football up, but you have to dial yourself back in, and Coach Guy does a great job of that, realizing where is our strength. It's that offensive line running the football.
And here they go again. Thornton tries to get out around the corner, but gets brought down. So it's going to bring up 3rd down and about 7 for the Rattlers.
Desmond Epps, one of the wide receivers, trying to block on this play. Just great pursuit by the Blizzard defense. Still a team sitting there at 0-3, playing hard into the 3rd quarter.
3rd and 8. Ziemba fires, has his receiver, gets knocked out of the hands of Anthony Jones. Great play by B.J. Hill, making the big hit.
You've got to appreciate the decisiveness of Coach Guy. There's no looking up and down or what should I do here. He had a play in mind. That's called. Still 20 seconds left on the clock. We've talked about communication from Coach Guy to the quarterback to the huddle. Let's make sure all that is in line and see if they can't pick up this 4th down.
4th and 8. Ziemba fires to the end zone. Touchdown, Rattlers. Ziemba finds Anthony Amos for the 4th down touchdown, Arizona.
Now, if you're a Rattlers fan, those are the things that have to excite you. Tremendous throw by Jeff Ziemba. Corner of the end zone, over the outstretched arms of the defender. Pretty good coverage down there. It's a defensive back. You can use a dasher board as another defender. Just couldn't quite knock it down. That was Manny Asprilla.
Petrie now for the extra point, and it is good. So 2:44 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. The Arizona Rattlers extend their lead. They're now up 27-10. So Jeff Ziemba finds Anthony Amos for the touchdown. The first point scored here in the 3rd quarter. The Rattlers now lead 27-10, 2:44 remaining here in the 3rd period. And how about Arizona head coach Kevin Guy again going for it on 4th down and gets rewarded.
Had a play that he liked, no hesitation whatsoever, able to execute it. Ziemba with the touchdown throw.
B.J. Hill on the return for Green Bay. Keith Brown finally able to bring down Hill. got some extracurricular activities down there.
One thing we're going to have to work on as this season goes along, Sawyer Petrie's going to have to work on his tackling ability. You don't want to bend over and duck your head. You're going to see him here on the sidelines. This is not a good tackling for him, Sawyer.
Have you played with a good tackling kicker before?
I played with a couple athletic kickers.
Could they tackle?
Probably not.
At least he was willing to stick his nose in there. And a first play touchdown for Green Bay. And it's Christian LeMay finding Chris Malott for the Blizzard, and just like that.
And watching Malott tonight, 6'5", 235 pounds, just a great big target, physical down the field, doing a good job blocking. Again, you run the football so much, all of a sudden defensive back, you start peeking in side a little bit, you think you're gonna come make a tackle, receiver gets by you.
Extra point is up and good, and with 1:32 remaining here, third quarter, Green Bay answers right back, and they have closed it to a 10-point game. Arizona 27, Green Bay 17. Welcome back to the Snake Pit Talking Stick Resort Arena. And just after Arizona gets the touchdown, Green Bay comes back and finds the end zone, a one-play drive. And it's a 10-point game again.
Want to give a shout out before the game. Got to catch up with JT. Long known around here, Arizona Rattler employee, basically runs the show. And this ownership group from Ron Schertz all the way down, just a first-class operation.
No doubt about it. JT Thompson always doing a great job of making sure we're okay, taking care of us.
Well, she's mom. She makes sure everybody's taken care of. And you know, we were just talking a little bit about the Indoor Football League and the Rattlers and how excited players are to come here and be an Arizona Rattler and then find out how they get treated first class. Again, from Ron Schertz on down, you're just not going to find a better run organization.
No doubt about it. When I talk to these players, that's one of the first things they cite about why they wanted to come here, is because of the job that Ron Schertz does running this organization. Just over a minute remaining here, third quarter. Breaking loose was Jamal Miles. Finally, it's brought down to the 20-yard line, but there's a penalty flag down.
And that flag was down very, very early in the play.
Illegal defense, number 13. That penalty's declined. First down.
That's back judge Kevin Kaiser. Saw him out running last before the game. Getting a little lather going. Getting ready for the rigors of doing a lot of running as a back judge in this game.
Don't want to pull a hammy out there.
No, you definitely don't.
Thornton right side. Great job again by this Rattlers offensive line, blowing Green Bay off the ball.
Really nice job. We talked about Steven Garola back in there at center. Bowles, Mady, they're going to be moving guys around, rotating these guys. Remember, Lamar Mady, first team All-IFL last year as a lineman. Bouncing back from a subpar performance last week, but there are some holes, and if you're Kevin Guy, I'm not so sure you don't just say, hey, I'm going to run the football until you stop it.
Ziemba fires end zone, nobody there except for the Green Bay safety, and it goes right through the hands of Manny Asprilla. And we are through 3 quarters here at Talking Stick Resort Arena. Arizona leading Green Bay 27-17.
Well, that's one where, I mean, B.J. Hill is good an athlete. I'm sorry, Asparilla is good an athlete as there is out on the football field, and you're not going to get an easier interception than that.
The 4th quarter when we come back.
Striker in the Arizona Rattlers sidewinder, presented by Par Excellence, Clearskin Institute, Pete Kosry, and Kendra Scott.
The Arizona Rattlers are brought to you by Hornitos. Tonight's game is brought to you by Hornitos, 100% pure agave tequila, a shot worth taking. And Spooner Physical, transforming our community's physical therapy and hand therapy needs for 25 years. Experience health in motion for yourself. And by Tea of a Kind. Stop, rethink your drink. Hydrate with Tea of a Kind. And The Park. Eat local, party local, the official post-game spot of your Arizona Rattlers. Beautiful day here in Phoenix. As always, during the spring and March Madness happening. Arizona Rattlers happening. Ball is loose after a big hit. Blizzard scoop it up into the end zone for a touchdown. Number 55, Sean Daniels, able to grab the ball, take it in the end zone for the score. And we got flags littering the end zone right now.
Well, that's probably going to be celebration, but I'm more concerned about what happened on the play. Was that another miscommunication between quarterback and running back? Because it certainly looked like the entire offense was not on the same page. As they discuss the penalty, looking at the replay here, Ziamba's going to his left, Thornton going to his right.
Doug, on the scoring team. That penalty will be banked.
So the score's going to count. They'll penalize after the kickoff. But you talk about a big change of events, and you just wonder, sitting up here, obviously we're not privy to the play call from Coach Guy to the quarterback to the team, but you just got to wonder if there was a miscommunication.
And the extra point is up and good by Andres. And just like that, Green Bay has scored 14 unanswered points, and they now just trail by 3 points here early in the fourth quarter.
Your Arizona Rattlers return to the state bid on Saturday, March 24th, taking on the Nebraska Danger. Kickoff at 6 p.m. For tickets, stop by the Talking Stick Resort Arena box office. Go to azrattlers.com or call 602-514-TDTD. Arizona Rattlers football strike as one.
Take a look at this last turnover. Again, we've talked about this communication issues this offense has had, and we're not exactly sure where's the Ambas trying to pitch this ball. Looks like to a wide receiver. If you're going to do that, you have to be careful because number 15, Brandon Boudreau, jumped upfield, knocks the ball backwards, and now we're into a dogfight of a three-point ball game.
On the return, Jamal Miles, left side, has room. Still on his feet, finally gets knocked out inside the 10-yard line. Just what the Rattlers needed. A huge special teams play, and Jamal Miles making it happen.
Well, remember, there's going to be the penalty added to that, too, so that's if you have the distance to the goal, but this is what we got used to last year. Miles with great vision and explosion. Kicker wasn't there. That's a touchdown. Tremendous job by the blocking unit up in front of Miles. And some guys just have a knack for returning punts and or kickoffs. And Miles is one of those guys.
Jamal Miles providing a big spark here for Arizona. They have the ball at the Green Bay 5.
Got some big guys out there.
Thornton the carry. Touchdown Rattlers. Shadrach Thornton finds the end zone.
Got to call it the heavy group. Chris McAllister, lead blocking, having fun blocking people. It's fun when your team scores, and that's kind of how you put it together. Thornton lowering that shoulder, getting in the end zone, but facing adversity. Special teams kicks in, then your offense kicks in, and get a touchdown.
Petrie's extra point is good, and a great response by the Rattlers. Shadrach Thornton scores from 5 yards out. Rattlers 33. The Snake Pit is rocking here at Talking Stick Resort Arena. 13:29 remaining here, fourth quarter. Arizona leading Green Bay 34-24.
Well, I was just going to go into my spiel about is you're the superior team. You don't let a team that hasn't won a game yet hang around. The longer they hang around, the more confidence they build and the more they think they can actually win this football game. And that's exactly what Green Bay is doing right now.
Hill's going to take the short kick from his own 5. Weaves his way through the left side, finally gets brought down just short of midfield by Jamal Miles. And Miles was the one who had the big kick return for the Rattlers to set up their last touchdown. Making a play now on the other end.
Wow, you see Hill get that ball and
makes you nervous.
Yeah, I tell you what, it could get you to the edge of your seat if you're a Blizzard fan. It gets you excited if you're playing against you. You're like, uh-oh, right here. Boy, if you're not chasing him down from the backside, there was a lot of green turf to run with if he wasn't tackled right there.
He's already returned one kickoff for a touchdown this season. LeMay has time to throw, fires to the middle of the field. Gets broken up there by Bubba Chapman. Nice play there by the veteran defensive back.
Well, it'll be interesting to see as the last 12 minutes, 45 seconds go by here. You know, a couple of those keys he told us yesterday for today defensively. Stop the run. You got to win the box. That means they're going to put a lot of guys in that box and try and stop that run. It means more man coverage downfield. Their coverage has been very, very good for most of the game.
LeMay throws it out of bounds, and Coach Guy mentioned he's looking for his defensive backs to get their hands on the ball here. There were going to be some opportunities to make plays, and they've had a couple of interceptions already today.
Well, there's obviously a reason why Green Bay runs the football as much as they do. You can tell throwing the ball first down, second down, they just, as a team, kind of look uncomfortable doing that. They're much more comfortable hammering the football at you. Now 3rd down and 10. Do you try and run it here, or are you going to throw on all 4 downs?
We got 2 downs to get 10 yards, and they're going to get all of them right here as Merriweather knocks Millay into the boards, but Millay showing his athleticism, found a lane to run, took off, and picked up the 1st down.
Well, Merriweather better remember, LeMay's 220 pounds. Again, you rush that extra linebacker. Nobody has the quarterback in coverage, able to pick up the 1st down, get slammed into the dasher boards, and then a few words for him after. And I don't think LeMay was asking him how you make chocolate chip cookies.
You don't think that was the topic? With the carry there for the Blizzard was Odin Jr.
It's just so fascinating to see this approach by the Blizzard offense and lining up in the I formation and having Metz be your lead blocker and take the linebacker on, and it's a throwback offense. But tell you what, they punch this in right now, and all of a sudden you've got a field goal game again.
2nd down and 8. Green Bay from the Arizona 11. LeMay surveys the field, fires, touchdown, Green Bay. And again, it is Millay finding his receiver.
That's Chris Malat. Malat, the 6'5" target, post pattern, sticks it in there and stands in the face of pressure as that defensive line gets a hit on him, coming right into your living room. Well, I'm really impressed with Chris Malat, 6'5", a great target, soft hands, blocks downfield.
And that is 2 touchdowns on the game for Malat. And Green Bay, they answer Arizona once again. Rattlers 34, Blizzard 31, 9:51 remaining, 4th quarter.
your number?
.951 remaining fourth quarter. Arizona 34, Green Bay 31. And this Blizzard team, Dale, they're not going away.
Just talked about it before that drive that, when you're a team that's struggling, you're looking for anything, for some hope. And you're sitting here, it's 34-31 with under 10 minutes left in the game. You have a chance to win this thing.
Jamal Miles on the return. Still on his feet, didn't hear a whistle. Finally going to get marked down at the 23.
Well, a couple of the keys for this Rattler offense. Coach Guy told you need to establish the line of scrimmage, be physical up front with that offensive line, and everyone around the quarterback needs to play better than they have. Let's see what kind of drive they can put together here when they need it.
Ziemba in shotgun. Hand off to Thornton. Keeps churning those legs, finally gets thrown back. Daniels in on the tackle, along with Woodgett.
Getting movement inside. Just love the way this team is scooping. That's 365 pounds, number 77 that they're knocking off the football. Woodgett picking up 4 and 5 yards every time they run the football.
Miles with the carry. How do you scoop 365 pounds, by the way?
You get underneath. You get leverage. You got to have good pad level. And I think offensive line, defensive line last week, both coaches talked about pad level. And part of that is just paying attention to detail. Your pads get up too high. If my pads are above yours, Chris, you have a chance of blocking me. It's all about leverage. Well, maybe not you.
I was about to say,
it's all about leverage.
Be realistic here. 3rd down and 2. Catches made by Miles. 1st down, Arizona. A big 3rd down conversion. And once again, Jamal Miles making some plays.
Yeah, Miles doing a really nice job. Last week, he had the 5 carries for 23 yards. Big catch on 3rd down. Good protection up front by that offensive line. Ziemba draws a little extra time by rolling out to his right, just shuffling to his right subtly.
And I talked to Ziemba this week just about that right there, Dale. He said in the arena game, the indoor game, you shuffle less than you do in the outdoor game, so you got to get rid of the ball so much quicker. He feels like he's getting more and more comfortable each and every game as Miles gets lit up by Green Bay's Boudreaux.
Brandon Boudreaux, who wears number 15, is listed at 260 pounds. He looks like he's about 220. But boy, he flies to the football, and when he arrives at the football, he's got bad intentions.
Boudreaux does announce his presence with authority. No question about it. And we've got just over 7 minutes remaining here in the ball game. Arizona clinging to that 3-point lead. 2nd down and 11 from the Blizzard 14. And it's going to be a timeout by Arizona head coach Kevin Guy.
Play clock was running down. He was obviously aware of that. And to me, really important drive here. You just feel so much more comfortable when you have a 2-score lead. You need to punch this into the end zone if you're the Rattlers.
Let's now take a look at the rest of the action taking place this weekend in the IFL. In the game played earlier today, it was the Sioux Falls Storm getting the victory over the Iowa Barnstormers by a score of 52-40. So a big win there by Sioux Falls on the road at Iowa. And then tomorrow night will be Nebraska at Cedar Rapids. Nebraska on top of the standings with a record of 2-0, taking on the Titans. That game will be tomorrow night. And we have the updated standings. Nebraska on top. Iowa and Sioux Falls at 2-1. Arizona need to get this victory here today to join Iowa and Sioux Falls.
I think at the end of the day, at the end of the year, it's going to be the Barnstormers, the Storm, and the Rattlers are going to be battling it out. 3 best teams last year, all going to be really good this year.
Ziemba, the keeper, left side. He's going to gain about 3. It's going to bring up 3rd down.
The one thing I know Coach Guy doesn't want to do is settle for a field goal here. You see that wristband on Jeff Ziemba, and that's one thing that has kind of bothered Kevin Guy. He said, I've heard all these other coaches talk about it, the communication, college quarterbacks don't call plays. He said, I've never had to deal with it till this year. You see that wristband and how thick it is with all the plays on it.
Ziemba showed it to me on Friday, 200 plays on that wristband. And that play worked, but it's still short of a 1st down. It's coming up 4th down. Desmond Epps with the catch. So a big 4th down coming up for the Rattlers.
Just again, you got to give some credit to this Green Bay team. As hard as they are playing, B.J. Hill comes up and makes the tackle. You've talked about him and his story already in the Hall of Fame, and that he's still playing.
Amazing.
Yeah, you got to tip your cap to him, this Green Bay team, for playing as hard for as long as they have.
Play clock is at 0s. Petrie on for the 24-yard field goal attempt, and it is good. So Petrie with the big 24-yard field goal for Arizona. And the Rattlers now lead 37-31.
And the thing that frustrated Coach Guy so much on that drive is the fact that he understands it's 37-31. Touchdown right here can get you beat. And that's why it was so important for them to punch that drive into the end zone. At the end of the day, though, you have to tip your cap to Petrie for coming back. Struggled a little bit last week, even in warm-ups. Struggled a little bit early in this football game, but he's got it back together. And again, so much of kicking is the mental aspect of it. And the kickers who are strongest mentally tend to have the most success.
Yeah, last year Petrie was 89 of 93 on extra points, 15 of 25 on field goals, but 14 of 16 from inside 40 as we reset and go back to our keys to the game we spoke of off the top.
Yeah, and playing physical, and thought they did that in the first half. Coach Guy wasn't quite as pleased as I was. The lineup changes, boy, we've called those linebackers names quite a bit, Merriweather and Langford, and then accountability. All the players who aren't playing understand how important it is to practice each and every day and then play well in the game.
Petrie kicks it through the end zone again.
And he's not even going to run by Coach Guy either. Oh.
And your next Rattlers home game is Saturday, March 24th. That's next Saturday against the Nebraska Danger. The game kicks off at 6:05 right here at Talking Stick Resort Arena. So that's going to be a big matchup. You touched on it just a few moments ago, Dale. I mean, by the time the season wraps up, it looks like it's going to be a 3-team race between Sioux Falls, Iowa, maybe throw Nebraska in there as well with the Rattlers.
This is that mosh pit that Coach Jarnigan was talking about last week, and you just wonder, 3 defensive linemen playing an entire game against this big offensive line for Green Bay, and them pounding you. Is it going to take its toll here in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think Coach Jarnigan called it the rugby scrum.
I said the quarterback sneaked and just wedged it, and they're gaining 5, 6, 7 yards last week.
4.5 minutes remaining. Rattlers lead the Blizzard by 6. LeMay fires. Goes incomplete. The intended receiver was Malott. Great defense, though. Great position by Arkeith Brown.
I mean, Malott turned into the defensive back, breaking that up. And the Green Bay coaching staff, I'm just not real comfortable when this team throws the ball. That had absolutely no chances. LeMay kind of short-armed it there. You've got a 6'5" receiver. You got to throw that ball up and give him a chance to go make a play.
And Malott actually turned into a defender on that play, going over the top of Brown. Make sure he didn't get the interception. And Green Bay head coach Chris Williams calls a timeout.
Number 1 of the half.
3rd down and 6.
Trying to get the replay staff here to replay it on the big board. And they just got that done, and now Coach Guy's going to challenge. Different rules in indoor football league. Can you challenge pass interference, a judgment call?
It's challenging the ruling on the field of no pass interference.
So I believe you can challenge just about anything.
Well, it says you can challenge anything
in
you
the
want,
IFL.
which obviously is different than college or the NFL. And you start getting into the decision-making process and judgment calls and things like that. And I'm not sure how you overturn that. There's definitely contact. The ball's going to be underthrown, good coverage, good position. But, I mean, how many times do you see that in the normal course of a game? And most of the time you just go on to play the next game or the next play.
If you flip the script, though, and that was the defender going through the wide receiver, that's a pass interference.
Which, again, a lot like defensive lineman holding. If you flip the script, they don't get called very often. So maybe this is the day that they're going to overrule that and call that offensive pass interference.
Well, Arizona head coach Kevin Guy, he took that entire timeout that Green Bay had called, talking it over with the officials and deciding whether it was worth challenging or not, and he finally decided it was. So he threw the red flag.
Well, it's also it's nice to play at home as he marched down and asked the scoreboard operator to get it up on the replay board. And usually if it's a controversial call and the home team can benefit from it, you'll see a few replays. If it's the away arena, you're not going to see it very much.
And there is the officiating crew.
That's what they're looking at, and it looks like it's a fairly simple call. I'm just wondering what the officials are talking about.
There's no other angles you're going to get that's going to help influence your decision. And that's a similar look to the one we saw earlier. I mean, there should be enough there to make the call.
Well, at the end of the day, it either is or it isn't. According to you, make the call and let's move on.
That's what Arizona head coach Kevin Guy is looking for. And looks like we're finally going to have a decision.
I think all this talk will be, well, where's the? If I'm guessing this talk is okay, it is pass interference. Where are we gonna mark the ball from?
And let's go back to the video.
I think if it's going to stand, this is already over with. My guess is they're going to call offensive pass interference, and they want to see where the ball was snapped from so you can enforce the penalty, would be my guess as to why they go back to the monitor.
Well, we hope to have a verdict here shortly.
We can watch them watch the replay.
There you go.
There you go. And again, are they going back to see where the ball was snapped from? Because otherwise, why did they have a decision, walk back out on the football field to turn back around?
Well, the ball was incomplete anyway, so the ball would not have been marked somewhere else. Well, let's see what Larry Farina has for an explanation.
After reviewing the play, offensive pass interference, number 5. 10-yard penalty, second down.
So great job there by Rattlers head coach Kevin Guy. And as you said, Dale, they normally don't call that, but.
Well, the other thing, yes, you got the penalty. But instead of it being 3rd down and 7, it's now 2nd down and 7. So you get the down back. Again, it's one of those things that you're kind of rolling the dice. Green Bay obviously not known for their big plays offensively.
So that gets Green Bay back to their own 19-yard line. 2nd down and 16. Great pressure by Martin. The ball is loose. Martin falls on it. Justin Martin gets the strip sack and then finally falls on the football once he realizes it's loose. Another big play by the Rattlers defense.
So quick in the middle, hard to get your hands on him. He didn't know the ball was loose.
Had no idea.
Swats the center's hands down, comes around, strips the ball. He's just excited, sees the ball and able to be quick enough, and now that's going to be challenged to see if his arm was in a forward motion. We'll get a look at it right here. Hopefully they can make a decision as quick as we can. The ball did not start coming forward. This should take about 15 seconds, and then let's get back to playing football.
Well, if your over-under is 15 seconds, I'm taking the over.
Yeah, there's no doubt in that call. And then look at the quickness to get on the ball once he realizes it's a loose football. Ha-ha.
Hey, you got it. They're coming back out. All right.
The ruling on the field of a fumble is confirmed. Green Bay will be charged with timeout.
So the play stands. Justin Martin, that Rattlers defense forcing another turnover.
Well, what it does, you challenge that play, you don't get it overturned, you lose a timeout. Green Bay now down to 1 timeout.
So the Rattlers take over thanks to the Justin Martin strip sack and then fumble recovery. Hit the trifecta there. And the Rattlers offense will take over from the Green Bay 19-yard line. 3:37 remain. Handoff to Thornton. Great job defensively by Brandon Boudreau, making the stop, a loss of 1 on the play.
We've talked about Boudreau a lot this afternoon. He's played one heck of a football game, all over the football field, disruptive, gets penetration.
Clock continues to wind down, 3:10 remaining. Ziemba with the pitch out to Thornton, and he gets upended. Terrific play by the Blizzard. Josh Jenkins making the tackle.
Well, you can see why he led the team in tackles coming into this game. 6 foot, 195 pounds, and like a heat-seeking missile. Physical at the point of attack. 16.5 tackles on the season coming into this game.
So that's going to bring up 3rd down and 10 for Arizona. 2.5 minutes remain. Ziemba loses the pressure, still on his feet. Tries to spin out of the tackle, gets brought down at the 15-yard line. So it's going to bring up 4th down and 5 for the Rattlers.
Looked like nobody open downfield, pressure up the middle, scrambles out to his left. And again, another really good defensive play, this time by Josh Francis, who was in coverage. Comes up and makes the tackle, and Green Bay, I'm not sure if they used a timeout or if there's an injured player. I thought that they signaled timeout for Green Bay because obviously they want to save as much time as they can.
Well, that will be their last timeout if that is indeed what happened. In the meantime, Arizona is setting up for a field goal.
Well, this is where Sawyer Petrie was so good for the Rattlers last year in situations like this to make it a 2-score game, making these field goals.
32-yard attempt for Petrie. Hit one from 24 yards earlier in the quarter. And it is blocked by Green Bay. Ball is loose, recovered by Arizona. But a huge special teams play by the Blizzard as they blocked the field goal attempt by Petrie.
Looked like they got penetration right up the middle. And those are the little things that will get you beat in a football game that you have to take care of. Field goal protection, you've got to block inside out. Again, we've talked about Brandon Boudreau a lot tonight. Just mentioned him a couple plays ago. This time gets the penetration, gets his hands up, blocks the field goal, and gives this offense a chance with less than 2 minutes left.
So the Blizzard will have the ball from their own 20, trailing by 6. Handoff to Oden. Pickup of 3.
There's been like a herky-jerkiness to this last 10 minutes of action with the instant replays and the challenges and missed field goals and things of that nature after the first 3.5 quarters went very smoothly.
And here we are with 1:15 remaining. Rattlers trying to hang on, up by 6. LeMay has time to throw, fires, intercepted! Keith Brown. They're going to call it incomplete. Looked like initially it was an interception by Keith Brown.
From our angle, we couldn't quite see if the ball hit the ground, but Coach Guy talked about the football coming out late from LeMay quite a few times.
1 minute timing.
And he was hoping for some interceptions. He was able to do that already this game once this ball come out late.
Christian LeMay looking. Keith Brown making a play on the ball. And the ball does get loose. Incomplete. The Blizzard will have the ball when we come back. Welcome back to Talking Stick Resort Arena. 1 minute remaining in the ball game. Arizona leading Green Bay 37-31. And R. Keith Brown almost coming up with the interception on that last play.
Tremendous play, just couldn't quite corral the ball before he hit the ground. But boy, you can kind of see why Green Bay likes to run the football. It's anytime you drop back to throw the football, it seems like they feel uncomfortable as a football team.
The Blizzard 3rd down and 7 from their own 23. LeMay fires. Intercepted. Bubba Chapman steps in front of the receiver. His second interception of the game.
Ball thrown behind the receiver late again. And you sit here and you watch film as a coach and you go, we think we can get these things done. That ball thrown behind the receiver, running an out pattern. See the receiver's frustration. We've seen it from Malat, that time from Jones. You got to put the ball out there where only your guy can catch it.
Now remember, Green Bay is out of timeouts. They cannot stop the clock, so as long as Arizona keeps gaining positive yardage, staying in bounds.
Yeah, remember, that's the one difference between indoor and outdoor football in the last minute of the game is the fact to keep the clock moving. You've got to gain positive yardage. You can't take a knee as a quarterback.
And this should be the last snap of the game. Ziemba under center. Ziemba pushing forward, has positive yardage, and that should do it. So a big win here for Arizona after losing last week against Iowa. Come back this week and get the victory over Green Bay 37-31. We'll hear from Rattlers head coach Kevin Guy when we come back. The Arizona Rattlers are brought to you by Papa John's. When we win, you win. The day after every Rattlers win, you'll receive 50% off all online pizza orders. Pizza always sounds good, especially after a victory.
It certainly does. I was just listening in to Coach Guy's in-arena interview, and it could be a loss or a win.
You never know sometimes. As we take a look now at the updated standings, Nebraska at 2-0. Then you got the Rattlers, Barnstormers, and Storm all at 2-1. Cedar Rapids at 1-2, and Green Bay drops to 1-4 on the season. And we are now happy to be joined right now by Rattlers head coach Kevin Guy. And Coach, your thoughts on how your team responded here today after last week's performance against Iowa?
Well, I think defensively we're where we need to be. You know, offensively, we just got a long ways to go. We're not very good right now. We're turning the ball over. You know, I thought we were playing pretty good at the beginning of the game, and then, you know, this offense that Green Bay runs, it just puts you to sleep, and you can't let them put you to sleep with this offense. It's just boring football. and it just lulls you to sleep. And, in the passing game, we gave up a couple of balls. We're up 17, and Nate's jumping a hitch. No reason to jump a hitch when you're up 17. We'll come up and tackle that, and then, I think a few minutes later, AK got beat. It looked like on some kind of double move post or something. I didn't actually see it, but he got across her face, and that's a no-no in man coverage.
You challenged your team to be more physical this week. Your initial thoughts on how they responded to that challenge?
Well, I think the physical toughness, we're there. I think the physical toughness is there. We got to get mentally tougher and understand how to put teams away and finish drives, finish plays, that kind of stuff. So, it's just a work in progress. It's early in the season, and, we had some we just had some mental issues tonight that we got to overcome. But, we turned the ball over tonight. We had a fumble. We tried to throw a screen pass, and, the timing was off on it, and then they block a field goal. Just an ugly game overall, so apologize to the fans. We'll try to put a better product on the field next week.
Last question before we let you go. Communication, it's been an issue, you said, from before the first game. Were there still communication issues this afternoon?
Yeah, we had a couple of issues, tonight, and we'll get it corrected for next week. It really wasn't on the quarterback. It was more administrative stuff between the call sheet and the wristband, and you check that stuff 2 or 3 times, but there was a couple of things that got through. So we got to attention to details, win balls game, and it almost cost us a ball game. So I'm going to address that with the staff when we get back tonight.
Coach, thanks for the time and congratulations on the win.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Rattlers head coach Kevin Guy, his team comes away with the victory, 37-31 to move to 2-1 on the season. Dale, some final thoughts?
Yeah, obviously he challenged his squad. They came out, they played physical, probably didn't play their smartest game. As a head coach, I think you like that there's still things we can work on this week in practice, special teams-wise, assignment-wise, mental-wise, all those things to continue to improve each and every week.
The Rattlers will be back here in the Snake Pit again next Saturday against Nebraska. For Dale Hellestray, I'm Chris Harris. Arizona Rattlers get the victory, 37-31 over the Green Bay Blizzard. Thanks for joining us, everybody.